Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Andrew Upshaw Fishing. Today I want to talk to you about a really cool technique that my dad taught me years ago. It is definitely his favorite technique for targeting those late spawn to early post-spawn shad spawn eaters. I really am probably going to get in trouble for this video, but in the meantime, hit that subscribe button in the bottom right hand corner if you don't mind. I appreciate everybody to subscribe. That subscribe button's right here. It's a tiny little square button that you're going to see down there in that corner. Let's jump right on into this, guys. You know what? We're wrapping up the spawn right now. The spawn has been going on. The fish have been biting. Everything's been going good. Minus coronavirus. Everything's kind of sucked with that. But otherwise, for the fishing's sake, everything's been going great. So, I want to talk to you about a bait. And not just any bait. A bait that is near and dear to my heart. It's a special bait. It's a presentation that's special to me because my dad taught me how to use it. And that is throwing a small swim bait. I mean, like a small one. This is a 3.25 inch Rage swimmer on a new size belly blade that we have. This hook is quite a bit smaller. It's made just for this 3.25, and you can even fish the 2.75 on it. But I fished the 1/8 ounce, and I'm going to tell you exactly why we fish this thing, how we fish it, and other baits that you can add on to this rig. So, you're on your favorite lake. It's got a little grass, got a few bushes on it. The fish have just got done spawning. You're starting to see shad flicker. You're starting to see fry guarding bass all over the place, fry jumping everywhere. But yet you're struggling to get bit on the baits that you fished all spring to catch them. And you know, that's kind of what we run into, is there's this one little window when fishing gets pretty tough. And that's when my dad kind of clued me into this rig. You know, he actually started using this rig with a really small Shadalicious years ago. And what he would do is he'd get an owner hook, and it's an owner twist lock hook. I want to say it's a 4 to 5 aught, 3 or 4 5 aught, something like that. And he would make the weight of the hook be enough for the bait. Well, me being me, I'm going to change it up slightly. When they came out with the 3.25 inch Rage swimmer, that is the bait that I knew immediately was going to fill that gap for me. And even more so when they came out with the belly blade, because the deal was there wasn't a very good weighted hook for that particular rig. So, to kind of give you an idea of how you fish this thing, I mean, it's fairly basic, but it takes a little bit of thinking. So, there's two colors that I like to fish. There's you can either throw white, or you throw one that's a more transparent, natural shad color. I throw the natural and transparent shad color the most, because if I'm in an area where I got to catch them on white, I'm going to probably pick up a swim jig, a thunder cricket, something like that has more bulk, because obviously the water's too dirty. So where I run into things that make it really special, especially with this belly blade, is fishing it on these inside and outside grass lines, whether it's hydrilla, hay grass, bank grass, whatever it may be. Wherever those fish are staging up, that's where I want to fish this small swim bait. In my opinion, I call this small swim bait the bait that catches everything that's up there. Literally. Like, you'll catch crappie on this. You'll catch bass from all sizes, from a 1/2 pound to 10 pounds. You will catch everything. White bass. You'll catch anything that's swimming up there eating a shad on this little bitty swim bait. They just love it. Now, do you throw the blade on it? You throw it like this all the time? Absolutely not. And that's what makes this belly blade so cool, is at the very bottom section of this head, or this weighted hook, there's a swivel, or there's this little split ring thing that's attached to an eyelet. And you can actually take the whole blade system off of there. So it basically would look just like this. Just like that. And, okay, so this is where it gets a little tricky. So for sunny days, a day like today that's full of sunshine, more than likely, I'm going to take that blade off. And the reason so is because when you're fishing that really shallow depth range, if it's a sunny, calmer day, I don't want too much flash. I just want the swim bait to do its job, and that's to be finesse and swim up there very subtle. And that's what taking that blade off of there will do. Now, the exception to that rule is if A, they're on a shad spawn, I'm going to keep it on there. I want as many flashing baits, stuff that looks like a shad on my bait that I can get. The other time that I fish it is when it's really windy on a sunny day, because wind is going to push those shad up in that grass, and that's when that belly blade with that 3.25 inch rage swimmer is going to shine. I mean, you're going to smash them on that thing. For some reason, that really compact, small, finesse style swim bait is not just made for fishing in deep water for big spotted bass and big smallmouth, or on an A-rig or wherever else you fish it. This thing is great for fishing in shallow water, and that's actually where I take most advantage of fishing this bait. Now on cloudy days, I leave that blade on there, and that might be when I turn to a white one, because you want that to stand out just a little bit, but you don't want it to be too much. All year, we have fished bright colored baits, pinks, yellows, whites, bright frogs, bright this, bright that. This is the time of year that you got to be a little bit more natural. They don't want things that looks unnatural this time of year. They want something that they truly think is a fish or food. Whether it's a bluegill, a shad, whatever it is, that's when you need to be the most realistic in that shallow water where those fish have just finished spawning. Because if you are a little bit more natural, you're going to catch more fish. Now, I told you there's more baits that you can fish on this rig, and there is. There's a few other swim baits that I've used. I think Reaction Innovations make a little dipper. I've caught them on that thing. That's probably one of the better subtle swim baits. But basically, if it's not that 325 Rage Swimmer or the 3-inch Shadalicious, the only other one I will fish is the little dipper, the little small skinny dipper. And it's just because it swims straight. And that's what I love about this 325 Rage Swimmer, is it swims straight. I can fish it slow, I can fish it fast, it's always going to track true. Now, as far as gear goes and rigging and all that stuff, I fish a lot of baits on the exact same setups. In this case, I'm actually just throwing my Finesse jig rod. This is the same rod I won with at Cumberland. It's a custom speed stick, 7.5 to gear ratio reel, 15-pound Strike King Tour grade fluorocarbon, which is important. And I mean, when I say it's basic, it's basic. I mean, you cast it out there, you reel it in. But it's all about having that mindset that, hey, I'm going to go catch them on this little bitty swim bait, even though it's not made for fishing in shallow water. It's not. Well, you go ask the people who designed this bait, and you say, hey, did you design that 3.25 inch Rage Swimmer or that 3-inch Shadalicious to be fished in 1.5 foot, 2 foot of water? And they're going to say, what are you talking about? And that's the thing I love about this rig, is that people don't fish it. Now, in situations where the fish are really ramping up on that shad spawn, I mean, you can pick up a thunder cricket, you can pick up a spinner bait, you can pick up an umbrella rig in some cases, wherever you may be. I mean, you can pick up square bills, KVD 1.5. The only other time that I'll upsize my swim bait is I'll go to a 3.75 inch swim bait, the exact same color. I want it to be natural. A different size belly blade. This is the larger hook version. Keep the blade on there. This is kind of my go-to. If I need a bite, I can pick this thing up. I'm going to catch fish on it. I fish it on basically the exact same setup. 15-pound line, Finesse jig rod, 7.5 to gear ratio reel. I throw a Team Lose Lite, a Hyper Mag. I don't know if it really matters which one you throw. It just needs to be a 7.5 to 1 gear ratio. But together, these two swim baits, people are going to be like, well, one's 3.25, one's 3.75, so they're only a ½ inch apart. But it isn't even just the length. I want you to look at the bulkiness. Look how small this swim bait is compared to this one. I know it seems a little abstract and a little different, but when I want to go up there and catch fish, and I want to beat the guy that's going down the bank in front of me and beat the guy that's going down the bank behind me, I'm going to turn to a rig that I can get the most amount of bites on. The most amount of bites on. This is like, if you were thinking of what's a good MLF bait, or something that they're fishing and trying to catch 100 fish, this would be the rig, one of the rigs that I turn to first, especially during the post-spawn, because you're going to get 1,000,000 bites on this thing. And I think we kind of forget sometimes, because the big glide baits, the real big swim baits, we get so caught up in big that we forget about little. And sometimes little gets you a whole lot of bites and a whole lot of big bites. And to me, that's when you figure out just how many fish that you go past during the day. And you want me to give you an example? How about this? How about next time you're on the lake and the fish are on shad spawns, they're up in there, that grass, they're pushing bass, or pushing shad, but you can't see them, you can't seem to catch them. I want you to go down a 100-yard stretch of your favorite bank with your favorite 5-inch swim bait, 6-inch swim bait, whatever the swim bait is. Go down it. I want you to see how many bites you get, see how many big bites you get. You're probably going to get some big bites. Heck yeah, man. Like, you're going to catch big bass on big baits. I've always said it. I will be a 100% proponent to it. If you throw a big bait, you're going to catch big bass. But the next time you go down that bank, I want you to tie on this 3.25-inch rage swimmer on the small belly blade. Rig it up the way I've got it rigged. You don't have to have the same rod and reel, but if you do, you're going to have a little bit more success because I have fine-tuned this pretty well. And just see how many bites you get. Just see. It's the perfect size of a thread fin. It's the perfect size of a baby gizzard. It is the perfect size to get you a ton of bites. I hope I've sold you enough on this. And by the way, there's a lot of other great swim baits out there. I'm not going to sit there and push product down your throat. I'm just simply trying to tell you ways that you can go out there and catch a bass the next time you're on the water. If you try this 3.25-inch rage swimmer on this small belly blade hook, 15-pound line, and just reel it around cover, you're going to be shocked on how many fish you catch and put in the boat. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this show. I hope you've made it this far. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner. I hope you catch a lot of fish the next time you're on the water, and maybe it will be on the 3.25-inch rage swimmer.